Hello, everyone. I'm Kenneth Adams, President Designate of LaGuardia. During this transition period, as I finish up my work at Bronx Community College and prepare to join you all on August 17th, I've been starting to get to know students, faculty, and staff at LaGuardia. I'm learning as much as I can about this wonderful school. I've had Zoom meetings with members of the campus community and read reports about the college's successes and challenges. But hearing firsthand from key people on our LaGuardia staff is really valuable to me. It's also a lot of fun. So I'm excited to have a discussion today with LaGuardia's Associate Director of Recruitment, Shannon Lund. Shannon and I are going to talk about recruitment and enrollment at LaGuardia, an absolutely fundamental part of our organization. So Shannon, it's nice to see you. How are you today?
Hi, nice to see you too, President Adams. Thank you so much for having me.
Shannon, you can dispense with that formality. Our viewers should know that you and I know each other. People who know Shannon may remember that he used to do this enrollment and recruitment work at Bronx Community College, where I still am a dean. So Shannon, you and I know each other. Feel free to call me Kenneth. Let's get right into it, my friend. Again, great to see you. Look forward actually to working with you and to meeting with you in person, not just on a Zoom, when we can do that. But then this is a very, very important part of our work, and you are now in the front lines of recruiting students to LaGuardia in this challenging era of COVID. So first, let's just start with some of the basics. Tell us a little bit about, or tell me a little bit about yourself, Shannon, and the work that you do. What's your job at LaGuardia?
So I've been at LaGuardia for the past 2 years. I'm the Associate Director for Recruitment. So I do everything from speaking to students, parents, college counselors, attending events, hosting events on campus, helping students through the application process, and really getting them to the place they need to be, whether that's the right class, the right major, but just helping them enrolled at LaGuardia.
If you could sort of sort them out for me, I'm curious, Shannon, what are some of the top 3 or 4 sources of students, and places where you typically go, relationships you have? Where do you recruit students from?
So we definitely have our top feeder schools in the Queens area. Those are mostly our high schools. But I would say the other part of recruitment comes from HSC centers, those centers that issue TASC or GED diplomas to students. That does represent a big population of our students that are incoming to our class, as well as there are a lot of CBOs that we tap into throughout New York that also help us reach our recruitment goals.
CBOs, by that you mean community-based organizations, Shannon? Local nonprofits
correct.
And social service agencies. So
exactly.
Do most of the LaGuardia students come from Queens, or do you actually do some recruitment in the other boroughs?
So most of our students do come from Queens, but there's a lot still that come from Brooklyn. There are select areas in Manhattan, as well as, surprisingly enough, in the Bronx, where we do have students coming from there too.
Shannon, I'm curious, what do you find when you're talking to potential LaGuardia students, who are interested in coming to LaGuardia? What do you think, if I could put it to you this way, the greatest selling points are? What is it about LaGuardia that you leverage, that you promote when you're trying to get a student to come to LaGuardia?
So I think students are looking for a place to belong, a place where they can find the right academics and the right services to help them succeed and graduate. And I think they get that sense of community from LaGuardia. At LaGuardia, there's this sense of belonging, sense of community. It's not just a community college, it's a college for the community and of the community, I would say. So they really do get that. The other thing that I would say we use, as you said, a selling point for LaGuardia is its affordability. Of course, it's academics. We have over 60 different diverse programs that students benefit from. Some are very specific and unique to LaGuardia, like our Vet Tech program, our English-Spanish translation program. So these are things that students really relate to and find that in choosing a school, LaGuardia is a right choice for them because of these things.
Shannon, do you find that you mentioned Vet Tech, for example. are there certain standout programs at LaGuardia that students often, approach you and they've already heard about LaGuardia, they know about LaGuardia and they've heard about a certain program. It's kind of like a leading program and they want to know more about it, or when you say LaGuardia, it comes to mind. What are some of those programs that are the most popular?
The one that jumps out at me would be the vet tech program. It's unique to LaGuardia. We're the only CUNY school that offers it. So students come to it specifically for that. They don't need to decide. They don't need to start with liberal arts and then decide on a major. They tend to know what they want when they're looking for vet tech. But I would also say it's similar with our health science programs. Those are pretty popular programs with students. And a lot of the times they already know about the program, which I feel like it's great. And it comes back to that sense of community. I can't tell you how many times I speak to students about, hey, why did you choose LaGuardia? More often than not, they would tell me, well, my family went there. I have a friend there. It's in the community. Things like that. They have the major I want. So there really is that sense of community. And I think students relate to it very well.
Shannon, I want to ask you something that's sort of particular to these challenging times we're in. How do you do your job? How do you recruit students to LaGuardia from your home or wherever you're working from, without all the normal support, without the campus tours, without the things you would normally do? How are you doing this online during COVID?
Well, I mean, as the world turned upside down and things changed so quickly, we had to adapt to that change as well. Before starting to work at LaGuardia, LaGuardia had always been known by colleagues as, that the most technologically advanced community college within CUNY. And I saw that within this transition, where we all had to, in a matter of days or weeks, transition from that in-person recruitment to now online recruitment. So we do exactly what we're doing here. We speak to students, we set up one-on-one appointments with them through Zoom or WebEx or Google Teams. I meet with my team on a daily basis through online video conferencing. We also offer info sessions twice a week in different languages. We're reaching out to students as best as we can in this, situation. So it has not been always easy. There's always some, power outage or some internet issues, but we've really made it possible. We also do offer the opportunity for students to speak to us one-on-one, face-to-face, as well as on the phone through Google Voice. So we do that for now. Hopefully, no one really knows what the fall recruitment will look like. I did get a lot of emails from counselors saying that they're probably going to do virtual college visits and virtual tours. So we'll see how that goes.
That's really helpful and interesting. Again, I learned so much in these discussions with my new LaGuardia colleagues like you, Shannon. The great work of our IT people, right? Of just like you say, the foundation of really powerful technology already embedded at LaGuardia as part of the school's infrastructure, and then leveraging that to serve students, and in this case, student recruitment, when everything went online. So having that backbone, that IT backbone is really, really important. And it's interesting to think about how that has helped to support your work. So here's a related question. This will be the first freshman class, fall 20, that is basically enrolling, fully aware that their classes will, at least 90% of them, it kind of depends on one's major, but their classes will be online. Several months ago, you and your colleagues in recruitment and admissions probably faced a tough situation when students said, well, I'm thinking of going to LaGuardia this fall, but I want to wait and see if the class is going to be in person or they're going to be online. So by now, of course, you have the answer. CUNY has had the answer for several weeks. They're going to mostly be online this fall. How has that affected your recruitment? How are students reacting to the news that their first semester is going to be online, the new students?
I think for a lot of our younger students, the ones straight out of high school, they're so used to this technology already that they're kind of excited about it, to do that class from home, not having to leave your house, not having to take the train. So some of them are pretty excited. Others were a little bit concerned about the fact that, hey, I don't have a computer at home or I don't have internet. But I think LaGuardia and CUNY has done a really good job with, helping students with that. I remember at the beginning when we all had to work from home, there were a lot of laptops and computers and hotspots being given out to students and staff and faculty. So I think, overall, it was a really favorable response. It also opened up for other students that we heard from that now, because they can be a little bit more flexible having online classes, they're now able to fit it into their schedule. So I think it will be really good for everyone.
Shannon, I think online instruction can be particularly helpful to adult learners. Older students who may have a part-time job or full-time job for that matter during the day, need to take their classes at night or on weekends, or maybe they have childcare obligations and the like. Are you seeing, how are you dealing with, again, the recruitment of not the high school graduate, but an older worker from Queens? CUNY defines older as anybody greater than 25 years of age, but the adult, we'll call them the adult students. How are you recruiting them in this era of COVID? What's the makeup? I know you do a lot of work with high school, Shannon, but what about making LaGuardia attractive for that older student for whom online instruction could actually be a very helpful modality?
So when we target our older students, we want them to know that we're offering these classes online, and we're offering not just that, but flexibility, something that can fit into their schedule. So, whether we speak to them, if they send us an email or they meet us through live chat on the website, send us a message on social media, when we're talking to them, when we're reaching out to them, our messaging for them is that, hey, we know that as an adult, you have a lot of other responsibilities, you have a job, but now you can fit your schedule into this, your class schedule into your schedule to make it work. So, that's the messaging we're standing behind and sending out to that particular group of students.
Shannon, you've worked at other CUNY institutions, so I'm going to put you on the spot, my friend. What stands out about LaGuardia to you?
I would say, so yes, I have worked for CUNY for about 15 years. So I've worked at a couple of CUNY campuses. I've also graduated from a couple of CUNY schools. So I would say that, LaGuardia being that most technologically advanced community college within CUNY has really stood out for me, not just when I first started working there, but even day to day, and even now during this pandemic, I really see it for myself. And students too benefit from that technology. They're using Schedule Builder. They can speak to their advisors through their portal and through a live chat. They use Blackboard and our fully realized mobile app. So there's a lot of technology involved. And I always hear about new technology being used in our first year seminar experiences, for example. So I think that's one thing that really stood out for me. The other thing I would say is that just the sheer volume of the number of services that we offer to our students, I'm not ashamed to admit that even after 2 years, I do not know every single one by heart, but they're there, they're on our website, but the people who do know it are our students. And I think that's the important part. They really use it and utilize it and benefit from it. I have some student workers who work at the admissions office, and some of them have commented many times that they couldn't imagine how they would have graduated without the childhood center, for example. So I would say that all those services really help a student.
That's really great. Very, very helpful. Well, Shannon, we've got to wrap up this conversation. It's been great chatting with you, and I look forward, once I start, to sitting down with you and your team, your colleagues in recruitment, and focusing on these issues. And so I want to ask you something. It's a little bit of homework for me. What do you think I should do? What can I do as your new president to support the great work you all are doing in admissions? How can I help?
Well, I think you're off to a good start. You're taking the time to actually ask the question, how can I help admissions? And by you saying how you can help admissions, you're really saying, how can we help our students? Because that's essentially what we do. And I think just asking that question really does help, especially for the office of the president. I think it's extremely important to think about how those decisions that you would make would really affect and relate to our students coming in. The other thing I would want to say about that would be, you know, there are many times where institutions can become pretty rigid. You know, things are changing all around and they don't tend to adapt. I think LaGuardia does a really good job of adapting. You know, our motto is dare to do more. So I hope that you continue with that tradition of daring to do more for us. And I think, you know, it will be great for students and, quite frankly, for staff and faculty as well. I know we're all pretty excited because you have a brand new, fresh perspective, fresh outlook coming into LaGuardia. So we're pretty excited to see you dare to do more.
Thank you, Shannon. I think I need to find a LaGuardia t-shirt that says "Dare to do more" on it, because I fully intend to embrace that slogan and get us all to do everything we can when it comes to daring and doing as much as possible to serve our LaGuardia students. After all, you go to all this really hard work to recruit students. It's incumbent upon the rest of us to make sure they have a successful experience at LaGuardia, and then speak highly of their experience so that students come here and your phone rings off the hook or your inbox is full of requests. Will make your job easier. Shannon, this has been great talking to you, my friend. Very nice to reconnect. And I look forward to working with you as soon as I get started in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thank you again for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks.